We're working towards building the business so it can run without me. I'm always going to be involved in the business, but I guess I've heard this from other people. I want to be able to use the business as a tool to help other people.
Okay, explain that.
Well, like for instance, what you said about helping leaders and maybe they're getting in their own way with a substance problem or something else. I mean, it doesn't have to be substance. It can be a lot of things. And going around talking to schools with Cory, and we plan on talking to colleges too, going into other businesses and helping them build their leadership team. Just I want to work towards being able to elevate the trades, and obviously you need money to do that. So this business is going to help with that.
Hi, everybody. Gavin Coyle. I'm the Gaffer back again with some fantastic guests. I've got Cory and Chad Kundert of Kundert Construction, and they're in Wisconsin in the United States, and they've got some brilliant, innovative, creative stories to tell us today in terms of what they're doing in their construction business, not just about their construction business and how long it's been going, how mature it is, how well established it is, how successful it is. We want to talk about that, but there's also stuff that they're doing. And you know what? Hats off to these guys. What they're doing is a massive, massive need within the construction industry. We talk about it quite a bit on the podcast. And I did have a guest on recently who's doing something similar in the schools. But these guys are, they're taking it upon themselves as part of their mission to go out and help the young people and help break down the barriers to get more and more people into construction. And we're going to talk about that. So, Chad and Cory, welcome on the Gaffer Podcast. Delighted to have you. I'll hit Cory first. If you'd like to just introduce us to yourself and obviously then pass the reins to Chad and tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. My name is Cory Kundert. I'm the CEO of Kundert Construction. I've been with Kundert Construction since June of last year, so still relatively new, but I'm Chad's brother, grown up in and around the business. So I'm excited to officially be on board the last 7 months or so. Chad, I'll hand it over to you.
Hi, I'm Chad Kundert with Kundert Construction. I'm the owner. So a little bit of background. I've been open since 1998. Just kind of went through the motions for a lot of years, and then in 2022, I joined a coaching group that kind of changed my direction on things, and eventually changed my life. So
wow. So when you set up Kundert Construction, it was back in, was it 1980s? Was it the 1990s, Chad?
1998 is when I started.
1998. And was that, what was your focus? Like, was it you were going to go after residential development, or what was your background? Were you carpenter or plumber, or what was your background?
Well, I was a carpenter, but just starting out, another guy and I, we just started out doing a lot of roofing. And eventually that capitalized into, maybe decks and siding, and eventually we started building houses. So kind of slowly progressed over the years.
Yeah. I say you've seen a lot of changes from then to now.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the biggest change probably in the last 10 years from where you're sitting? What sticks out for you as the biggest change within construction?
People's work ethic.
As in good or bad?
Bad. And it's not everybody. I just see it more that people aren't willing to put in the time that's needed to
get the job done.
Yeah, get the job done, make themselves successful. Here at Kundert Construction, we do have a very good team that everybody stepped up and really started working hard. So we're at a point where we can be picky on who comes on as new teammates, and that has kind of helped us elevate the business even more here too. So
Yeah, tagging on to that, culture is really important for us. So, very selective on who's coming in. We go through an interview process. We want to make sure we're aligning our people with our values as a business, and making sure they're fitting in with the crew that they're going to work with. Right, that's a big thing. You got to have some sort of relationship with the person you're working right alongside.
So let me get into that a bit further, because you're not unique. We're in Europe, and there's an element of softness, which is good. People can be vulnerable and stuff like that, but the work ethic side of things is a challenge. And you don't have to work harder. You can work smarter and still get the job done. But it's digging in when something goes wrong, because so dynamic construction is. Then you find out the true character of the people that you're working with. But you also want to be safe, working with safe people beside you. So how do you vet these people coming in? Is it a referral program that drives the culture for bringing the right people into Kundert?
So we do kind of the typical job postings. We post on social media. We post on Indeed. We have high visibility in our community. We live our shop is right on the highway, so we've had quite a few people walk in, and then we'll go through an interview process. We're working to refine what this interview process looks like. It's to me, when I'm talking to somebody, when they apply, I'll spend 20 minutes on the phone with them before even inviting them in for an interview, just to really understand who they are and what they do. And then we bring them in for an interview, meet with part of our team. And the thing we need to work on a little bit more is some more situational questions of, if you were put in this position, how would you react, and things like that. People can be a good culture fit at first, in an interview, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. So it's looking for the fit in there, and then obviously skills. A lot of our employees have 20 plus years of experience in construction, and so being able to continue to leverage that and bringing in some folks who have a little less experience, but they can learn from those folks. It's kind of a balance of where our needs are.
Yeah, but I suppose when you talk about culture, you also talk about leadership. And if you don't have the right leaders, showing the playbook of Kundert Construction and the values of what Kundert Construction is, it's all right. You might have somebody that actually has good work ethic, but then they probably might switch off and go, well, if he's not doing it or she's not doing it, I'm not going to do it. So, they start cutting corners. From a leadership point of view, Chad, how do you instill those values within your site foreman and your charger foreman, or your gang or crew foreman, or your managers?
So we've been talking a little bit, and we've kind of decided we want to start working on like a strategic onboarding process. We don't know how that looks quite yet, but we're thinking they spend a couple of weeks with me, the project manager. We take them around to various job sites. They work with different teammates throughout those 2 weeks to get a feel of the Kundert way, is what we call it. So that's what we're working on right now in the office.
And then you have to sort of, I suppose, pick out what your metrics are to measure these people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're looking at, how punctual they are from a granular point of view, how they apply themselves, in terms of their attitudes, the behaviors, all these different categories. I suppose you're probably still trying to work that out, are you, in terms of, what is the key metrics of the Kundert way, if you like?
I mean, all that stuff you just mentioned is definitely important. And yeah, we don't always look for the best talent, because you can teach that. Sometimes it's just the personality that needs to fit in with the rest of the crew.
Yeah, I love the way you said that. And and I think that's a big takeaway for people trying to get into the industry, is you mightn't be technically excellent at what you do, But if you apply yourself in the right way and you're consistent in that approach, there's a good opportunity for you in any construction company. But of course, you guys are probably in the same position as most of the other construction industry, in that you're competing for, the best of the best, and then you're into a scale of money side of things. So why would I work with Kundert when I can go work with this tier one giant, and build, I don't know, power plants around the world or whatever.
And that's where things are changing in our area. People are starting to see that this is a good place to work, and some of them that have came to us are making maybe $1 less an hour. I mean, it's not big money, but were in a culture that just wasn't fitting to them, and it was disruptive, unorganized chaos.
I think COVID probably ironed out a bit of that for the industry, that people kind of said, hold on, my time is more important, and I'm being sitting in a plane, for a couple of months of the year, basically wasting my time away from my family. And, for a little bit less, why don't I just work for a local contractor and get home every evening and see the wife and kids and do things?
Yep.
Has that been your experience as well? Yeah. So it's going to be nearly an opportunity. COVID kind of nearly provided an opportunity to have this new sort of outlook of people that are kind of saying, yeah, I'll work for a little bit less for more of my time.
Yeah, I mean, for our main crew, we try to stay within an hour too, so they can be home at a decent time with their family every day. Yeah.
All right. So if you were to pick up some work out of county or out of state, you wouldn't do it?
Probably not, unless we could find like a really top-notch subcontractor that could help us team up on it and take care of it.
That's like, again, I suppose it all falls back into your strategy, doesn't it, as regards, well, if we're going to attract the right people, we need to stay in our lane. And I often see people coming up with great ideas, and they come up with this lovely policy, and then within 6 months they're going to like, oh yeah, we're going to do this job in New York, and everything. I need to go home. Yeah, you got to get the job done. So is there any other initiatives like that, Cory, that you can tell us about that, you're working on in terms of attracting people and, recruitment and retention?
Yeah, so we are very passionate about getting that next generation excited and interested in the trades. It's actually part of our mission statement is to help elevate the trades. And we're doing a lot of work with our local high school in our town here to really try and drive more to the trades. So a couple examples that I want to share that we're currently working on or are partnering with is our local high school they just re-implemented a program. This is the second year where they build a new home through high school. Chad went through a similar program, which would be a good thing to ask him about here in a minute. But we set trusses for them. We donated our time, and there was 16 kids that were in the class. I went around and I talked to every single kid there. Every single one wants to get in the trades. They had 47 kids interested in getting in that class. They had to turn away, 30 some people. And that number is just continuing to climb. They're actually thinking about trying to do more in that space if they can. And so just continuing to build those partnerships with the school. And I'm part of, we as an organization are part of two trade associations, ABC of Wisconsin and NARI, which is the National Association of Remodeling Industry. I'm on the Workforce Development Committee for NARI, and we're partnering with the school to have a trades day which is getting kids who don't typically go to those tech ed classes, and they get to experience some hands-on work. They go through some stations where they'll do some plumbing, electrical, tile work, and things like that, just to get more kids exposed to those opportunities. And it's really exciting to see.
How did what age group are we talking about here, Cory? Like what sort of age range?
Yeah, so these all high school. So yeah, 16 to 18. That trades day specifically targeted more to the freshman and sophomore in high school. So 14 to 16, just to get them more exposure early on.
And is there some sort of an assessment process in selecting these people, or how do you say no to one and yes to another? That's difficult.
Yeah, so for that program specifically, the trades day is all just through the school, and the new home build is actually it's funneled through the school and a local economic developer, and they actually go through an interview process for them to get involved. We were just asked to set the trusses, but we partner really well with the school and the local economic developer on a lot of different initiatives.
Brilliant, I love it. We had a guest on recently, and he was a teacher, and the company was actually actively looking for teachers to take on teachers because they knew the teacher's salary scale was low, and that they could offer, better salary, better terms, better conditions, and they looked at teachers as good trainers, as good coaches, as people that can apply themselves in a learning capacity to get the workforce, more consistent in terms of policies, procedures, systems, and all the good stuff. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was very innovative as well. That someone at the boardroom level said, we need to rethink about how we can attract people from other trades, or like other completely different careers, and bring them into construction that might have, parallel or some sort of, skill sets that can, add into the construction industry. Have you thought about? No, let's not tell you to go back to that school and take the teachers out of the school. But have you thought about looking at that as a model?
Yeah, from kind of the office business standpoint, there's a lot of people who don't really think about all the back end work that's done on the construction side, right? You have project managers, sales, marketing, bookkeeping, office manager type roles. There's a lot of opportunity, and that's going to continue to grow with technology and the pace that things are going on that side of things. So there's a lot of opportunity to show people more than just swinging a hammer. You can make a great living in every avenue in the trades, right? Whether you're slinging a hammer, pulling wire, whether you're doing social media content for a construction company, there's boundless opportunities. And I think there's, if we continue to tell that story of all the fantastic things you can do in the industry, you can attract more of those people that are outside of the industry and see what it's like. Since I've joined the company, I've been managing our social media, and I hear things out in the community of they really enjoy seeing what we do, whether it's building new homes, some of the additions and remodel work that we do. But we tell the story about our employees. We talk about community initiatives and things that we're a part of, because it's a whole picture of what we do, and just being able to continue to tell that story gets people more interested in the trades.
Yeah, I think obviously social media is where it's at. Like when we set I'm the Gaffer podcast up, I never realized there were so many people on TikTok in construction. It just blew my mind. Now they're not in America anymore on TikTok, but I was like, what the hell is going on? There's a whole planet here of construction people that I haven't interacted with before, and they're on TikTok. And it's like, you got to get up at the times here, because if you're not going to embrace this whole social media side of things in construction, it's not going to elevate the brand of construction to where it needs to go, because all of these other industries seem to be doing it really well, and therefore they're just naturally attracting, potential candidates into their communities just through social media. And putting a sign on the side of a roadway doesn't really cut it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So your chief marketing officer, your chief executive officer, Is there any other chief hats that you're wearing, Cory?
Yeah, so I focus on the marketing, business development, our recruiting, in that sort of thing, and we've been growing quite a bit over the last few years, and Chad and I partner on how can we strategically grow the business. There's growing pains that happen when you're growing a business, and so obviously working through some of those things as you continue to grow, but it's trying to make those next moves. And try and figure out systems and processes. That's where we're at right now. Is trying to define those systems and processes that'll make everybody's lives easier, and that sort of thing.
Hi guys, as you're enjoying this podcast, I just wanted to take a few seconds to let you know about my company, Coyle Group. We're not just another safety recruitment agency. We're your partners in building a safer future. With over 25 years of experience and more than 1 million hours of safety work completed, our mission is clear: provide top-tier health and safety contractors tailored to the unique needs of your project. We also carry out on-site construction audits. From wind energy to power stations, utilities and engineering projects, our global reach and specialised expertise ensures your operations are not just compliant, but exemplary. For more information on how ensuring safety and sustainability of your products using our team of HSE contractors, visit coyle-group.com or click on the show notes or video description now. I've also put a booking link into the description for you to click and have a one-to-one conversation with me. Now, back to the podcast. Enjoy and see you soon. I'm interested, Chad. You mentioned earlier on that you had a kind of a light bulb moment when you done the coaching. Maybe talk a bit more about that to us in terms of why that was such an impactful decision for you.
Okay. Well, from probably 1995 to 2022, I had a drinking problem. I was able to make the business function and keep everything going. It grew some through that process, quite a bit actually. But in 2022, I went to this coaching thing in Denver, and the coaching group is called the Contractor Fight. They just help you. They're working to elevate the trades too, so they help you kind of get out of your own way, I guess, and then they help you with the systems and processes and how to talk to clients, how to talk to the employees, just all that stuff. And just as I got deeper into that group, about a month later, I just woke up one morning and decided I was done with drinking. And from there on, I just started really building and working hard in the business.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's very powerful. Vulnerability is very powerful. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And it is an issue in construction that's probably not talked about enough either. It's a stressful job. And, my own business is health and safety, and we supply health and safety people around the world. And it's lonely. Like, guys are on their own, traveling around, and it's kind of like, one drink and then it's another drink, and then it's kind of like, and then it becomes, okay, how do I manage my business and manage myself and manage drink? And then
you got your family in there too. Like, I was robbing. I mean, that's a big part of the contractor fight too, is they tell you to quit stealing from your family. So that's with pricing, everybody undercuts themselves. So we're really digging deep into pricing. That's with your own personal stuff. Like, when it's family time, you stop your business and you go spend time with your family. So,
and you'll never get that back. So you've made that decision. You've now cut the cord. So well done, Chad. And are you still part of that coaching group then? Does that continue on, or do you find a buddy system, or what way does that look?
I'm still part of it. I'm actually in an elite group with them now called War Room, where they really dig into your shit and pull a lot out. Yeah.
Oh no, here's Chad. We're going to be here for the next 2.5
Yeah.
days.
And the funny thing is, we did dig into some of that stuff, and I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of business owners out there with a lot of shit they have going on.
I was part of an organization, entrepreneurs organization, or EO. It's kind of like a bit like YPO. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And yeah, the first session was kind of like to start talking about family and who you are. And I was like, I didn't sign up for this shit. Like, I want to talk about the business. I want to talk about, like, these guys were high-end CEOs, like really looking after major companies. And the next thing, like, there's tears in the room. People's talking about, very serious issues. And I'm like,
I mean,
holy shit.
You want to get real? I had to write my own eulogy. That makes you think.
Oh, wow.
That really makes you think.
Yeah. That's hardcore stuff.
You had to write it in how you would perceive it from a certain person. So then you're thinking about how you want to be. You're thinking about your legacy at that point. Like,
yeah,
do I want to be known as the guy that could put down a 12-pack in an hour, or do I want to be known as the guy that helped elevate the trades?
wow, that's very powerful. But I'd say, like, in terms of, obviously it's a confidential environment, so it's a safe environment. So you obviously felt safe to share.
Yeah.
Or did you know that was going to come out? Did you? Did
No, I had no idea. I thought this was going to be digging into more of the financing stuff, really. But I mean, it's needed. I mean, a lot of people have stuff deep down inside that are getting in their way. Whether it's, I mean, even, not thinking you're worthy of making the money you're making, or
yeah, imposter syndrome.
There's a lot in everybody. I mean,
we done an exercise one day as well with somebody, which it's called a lifeline. If you Google lifeline, as in LIFELINE, you'll see how you plot out the different stages of your life in dots on a piece of paper. And you talk about the moments of impact that had most impact, either from a high point of view in terms of things were great, or from a low point of view. And it's very, very interesting to see when you look at it on paper and you join the dots like a heartbeat or a heart monitor. You can see the ups and downs. Jesus Christ. When I was 18 to 22, it was really bad.
Yeah.
But it's good to see. It's actually good to look back and see the landscape of, the touch points of your life where you had ups and downs and highs and lows and stuff like that. And, I used it then again when I was managing a football team, and I got all the guys to do this lifeline, and it was very powerful. Like, a lot of guys were very emotional because they had to talk about things that, went wrong, but also things that were brilliant in their life. And then there was this one guy who kind of, like, everybody was like, he just had this one low point, in his whole life. And we were like, what was it? And he said, I failed my driver's license test. We were like, shit, is that it? Like, you failed your driver's license. Yeah.
I wish that was my low point.
Yeah, right.
Well, but thanks for sharing that with us, Chad. Tell us, that's going to be very inspirational stuff as well to use in the right direction. Do you see yourself maybe mentoring or coaching other construction leaders now that you've kind of got a bit of a taste of that process?
Yeah, I mean, that thought has crossed my mind, how I could help people with that. And I mean, they say the best people to help are the people that went through it. So
yeah, it would be good. And that kind of leads me on to the other point is, what is your succession plan then, seeing as you're now enlightened and you've got this playbook kind of pretty much written out as regards what's going to happen for the next 10 years. I don't see you retiring because
No.
you just don't come across that type of person that's going to retire. But like,
we're working towards building the business so it can run without me. I'm always going to be involved in the business, but I guess I've heard this from other people. I want to be able to use the business as a tool to help other people.
okay, explain that.
Well, like for instance, what you said about helping leaders and maybe they're getting in their own way with a substance problem or something else. I mean, it doesn't have to be substance. It can be a lot of things. And going around talking to schools with Cory and we plan on talking to colleges too, going into other businesses and helping them build their leadership team. Just I want to work towards being able to elevate the trades, and obviously you need money to do that. So this business is going to help with that.
Well, but you haven't mentioned the word profit. You've mentioned help, support, engage. All that kind of stuff is what you've the essence of what you said and the power of what you said. We get caught up as an industry as well in chasing the money side of things.
Yeah, I mean, we watch our numbers pretty close, but the money's not gonna. Money doesn't motivate me, I guess. I mean, even I don't remember how many years ago was it when I was on your podcast, Cory. I was even still drinking then, and I talked about elevating the trades at that time, and I still said even then I wasn't even making a lot of money, and I said that money doesn't motivate me. I mean, it's nice. Obviously, you need it to make things happen. So that's an important part of this puzzle now. But yeah,
it's badly needed. Sorry, Cory.
No, you're good. But Chad's also reinvested in the business quite a bit too, getting more equipment, getting more vehicles. We just finished up an addition. We're adding a showroom to our shop here, and it's not just those are the things that can help elevate that client experience too. Is getting those things settled, giving our crew members more shop space and things too. So it's twofold. It's trying to make an impact on people, right? But it's also trying to elevate that client experience and get people talking to help drive more business so we can impact more people.
We have had a lot of positive impact from the client, and as far as the communication and how we treat them seems to be above what other companies they've dealt with have been. We're just trying to make it like the best we can make it for the client and the guys in the field.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned showroom, so a construction showroom. So, hey, if you were to build your house, this is kind of the quality of what you're going to get. Is that? Am I reading that correct?
Yep.
Like a car showroom.
Yeah. So we're getting some products put into our showroom. It's still being finalized what we're getting in there, but getting some samples. So the things that people like to touch and feel and see. So getting some siding samples, shingles, stone, cabinets, things like that. But we have a conference room with a digital display, so we can do some visualization with people, so they can kind of see what that looks like. All of this is still in development. Still working to finalize what that looks like, but there's not a lot of contractors around our area, at least, that have something like this.
At some point, we're going to be able to put somebody's house up on that screen here pretty soon. It's coming shortly. And we're going to be able to change the colors on their house if they want a blue house, a red house with white corners. We can go inside of the house then and do a virtual walkthrough and change the cabinet colors and the wall colors and the flooring. And it's even going to be down to the faucets, like Delta or Kohler, and you can pick out a black one, a stainless steel one. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's efficient.
Yeah.
And that's a part of it too, with trying to get some of these products in, hopefully we can kind of narrow down the products that we offer and kind of create some sort of packages or things. But that helps on our crew side, on the installation side. They're working with same or similar products all the time, so should be a little bit easier for them on that side too.
And what about the podcast, Cory? Chad mentions that are you still keeping the podcast going, or?
No, life got a little hectic for me. But a few years ago, I ran a podcast called Wisco Legacy. I'd interview inspiring Wisconsinites. My brother was one of those inspiring Wisconsinites I wanted to talk to, and so I talked to coaches, athletes, nonprofit leaders, and business owners to hear their journey through life. And Wisconsin was a big part of that. Massive fan of where I live. And so being able to hear those stories from those folks was really inspiring. And it all started because of COVID. I was working at home at the time and just wasn't getting a lot of interaction with people other than my family, and wanted to have those extra conversations. I'd always wanted to do a podcast, and so I decided it was time. And my very first episode was just me talking about, I went through a big transformational weight loss. I lost 100 pounds in 363 days. Now I've gained a lot of that back, so it was cool. Right. But I need to reinvest in myself. But it was a really cool experience to go through. Met a ton of great people and learn a lot of skills by doing it. And hopefully that's part of what we do in the future too. Is maybe we add a podcast as part of our content strategy here. Who knows?
We actually had I had a podcaster on recently, and this is the discussion on the show was how podcasting can elevate construction companies. There's no reason why you can't have your own podcast, Kundert Podcast or whatever. It's a great medium for interacting. And we talked about solutions. So today we're talking about great solutions, obviously, and that you can go back to people and say, hey, look at episode 38. We talked about that particular issue that you're having right now. And you should go back and listen to that podcast, because we talk about how to solve that issue or ways that you can think about solving that issue. And, I never really thought about it as much until myself and this other podcaster were talking about the power of podcasting. And like afterwards, and the reach and the network of people that I've met and that I'm still in touch with today is like off the charts. Far more than whatever my business has given me. The podcast has given me a far bigger reach and a far bigger connection to really authentic, nice people that you want to stay in touch with for the future, and you actually you can vibe off each other, and you actually you can learn off each other, and there's no monetary connection to that relationship at all. It's purely based on I get where this person is and I get that person.
Mm-hmm. And you can hear stories like Chad was just sharing about drinking. You pull on those threads of vulnerability, and there's so much power in that. And that's what I found through podcasting is, I had some guests who've gone through some really hard times, and just hearing more about that, inspired me. And I used to get messages from people that, some of those things would inspire them. So that's what felt really good about doing my podcast. And like you said, there's just so many connections, so many things you can do from doing that.
Brilliant. I love it. And Chad, so back to yourself. If I went out in a van with you and I was just starting working with you, if you don't mind me saying so, I'd probably be a bit intimidated. I'm playing devil's advocate here, so give it to me. I'm Irish, so I'm blunt as well. So I'll just shoot from the hip, like. But I would imagine, like I'm sitting with the big boss, and I'm kind of going, if I mess this up, like I'm not going to make lunchtime.
I try to make them feel comfortable, but I am pretty to the point, I guess. I try to joke with them a little bit and keep the mood light, but I don't know if that's ever going to change in me. I'm pretty direct and just, this is what I want you to do. This is how you do it. okay, now you go. Like,
But I'm interested. Did you have to change your style in any way? Like patience, it will be one of the things that, like, I don't, I'm constantly having to work on being patient and taking a step back.
I'm actually a pretty patient guy. Yeah, I've not only have I coached in the business here, like teaching people how to build and do that stuff, but I coach outside of the business too. High school and younger than that sports. So I do have patience. Yes, I can come across a little gruff and straight to the point, and maybe that intimidates some people, but I will tell you, it doesn't intimidate my wife. She can put me in my place. So
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. Look, I think even for myself, maturity as you get older, things that you might have jumped out of your seat and went, "Oh my God, we need to do this." Now you go, "Hold on a minute, let's just take a step back here and let's
yeah,
see what the best strategy is to solve this." I think it's a kind of a maturity thing more so for me.
I'm trying to smile more and be more excited, but I, I'm I struggle with that with customers too. Like I need to be more excited for them. Like a lot of things we do for people. That's just like a huge decision in their life. Um,
And you get to share that. You get to share that. So it's a very honorable thing to do, but it's also a very nice thing to be part of.
yeah. So we're working on that, getting me to smile more and be more energetic. So
But as well as that, I suppose, there's a legacy thing there. When you do a good job for him and her or whatever relationship it is, and then they come back, their kids are coming back to you guys and saying, yeah, well, Kundert built their house and we trust them, and then the next thing is generational. You're getting cousins coming into you and saying, yeah, I heard you done a great job, or I seen you done a great job for my grandfather or whatever.
yeah, there's projects that we did 20, 25 years ago that we're back doing something new or changing it now. There's been a customer that we've built 2 houses for now. Yeah, we are starting to get that, and then we're getting some of the older customers, like you say, their kids are starting to call us to do their work, and yeah, it's a trickle effect, and it's working good.
Yeah, there's nothing like the power of referral. I know we talked about social media and the power of social media and marketing, but there's nothing as good as getting a phone call and saying, such and such told me you're the man to come to solve this issue for me. And you're just like, okay, we haven't even talked about the quote yet, but like, let's, no, but like, not that, because they trust that you're not going to, overprice them. That, there's just something beautiful about being connected as a referral from somebody else, as opposed to trying to take a cold call or take a cold email that comes in and just goes kind of a random way of looking of a sale call, if you like.
Yep.
Do you have salespeople, Cory, or is it just yourself doing the business development from a marketing point of view, or if you've looked at that as a model?
So Chad focuses on the sales. I do more business development, going shaking hands. I'm part of different committees in our community and boards and things. So I'm trying to drive business through that. But Chad does the sales and estimating piece in house. We are looking sometime in the future of getting a salesperson in and seeing what that looks like. But right now it's mostly Chad.
And do you do property development as well, or is it just one-off houses mixed up? I know you mentioned you do some light commercial stuff as well.
So we do a mix of custom homes for clients. We work with a few developers to build their spec houses, and we're actually working on a spec house right now. We just hopefully wrapping up framing here in the next week or so on that. So we're dipping our toes in the development side.
So outside of the labor issue, and that's a global issue, by the way, I'm sure you're aware, what's the biggest problem in construction, guys?
That's the biggest problem in construction. Other than that, I mean, during COVID, there was issues with with getting products, but that's kind of pretty easy now.
There's a lot of people talking about, innovative technology and stuff like that we're probably getting caught up with too much paperwork and too much administration. And there's a lot of talk about AI, obviously, being a great tool to, and guys over in Europe use BIM modeling and stuff like that. Are we have we got too much technology? Do we not have enough technology, or is that an issue?
I don't feel that's an issue with us.
It's more the labor.
I mean, it is labor, and I mean, I can speak for the customers, I guess, and say that there's not enough of us contractors, and the ones that are out there, a lot of them aren't returning phone calls. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like in our area, there's a lot of, let's say, 2 guys that just work together. They get enough work, they're done for the year. They're not returning phone calls. They just kind of ghost everybody until they run out of work, and then they start rebuilding again. I guess if that. So we get that feedback a lot because every one of our customers gets a contact, and I would say 95% of them get an estimate right now. We are going to start doing a discovery call with them to see if they're a good fit or if we're a good fit for them, just to save some time on my end, because the last 3 years I've probably been looking at roughly between 350 and 400 jobs a year and estimating them, and we're doing about between 70 and 90 of them. So we want to try to make sure it's there for real. Like some people just want an estimate, and I can do that over the phone, to be honest with you. I mean, your average kitchen's going to run you from $30,000 to $55,000, just depending on what it is. And if somebody says, "Oh crap, that's a lot of money," well, then we know that they're not a good fit.
It's a big the whole triage of the right customer for you is I remember talking to somebody recently as well about the same thing. It's not about how many jobs you get; it's how many jobs you say no to is more important. We don't measure that. We don't measure the no. We're not a suitable fit for you. Like, I'd rather have a high percentage of no. We're not the right, because then you're really zoning in on your values and on your mission, and your core mission at that point, aren't you?
Just like the team members are really important who you bring in, the clients are the same way. Like, because I mean, there are clients out there that can really make it miserable for the team.
Yeah, and then all the focus is onto that particular project, and then it's being lost somewhere else because people's time is being held up.
Yep.
I'm going to throw a few curve balls at you guys, if you don't mind. Cory, you're sitting there, so since you're fresh from not talking for the last 2 minutes, I'm going to hit you with the first one. Knowing what you know now, what would you do different? And it doesn't have to be in business; it can be in your life.
Oh, that's a really good question. I was a big sports guy growing up. I wrestled and played football and baseball. There's things that I think back, should I have pursued wrestling in college? I was okay. But I'm super passionate, still am, about that. And thinking about, like, would I have enjoyed continuing that? I got hurt my senior year and missed half of it. And I think that's part of it, is there's some regret that I missed out on some of that experience my senior year. So that's something I think about more often than I should.
Well, at least you're thinking about it. Same question for you, Chad. Knowing what you know now, what would you do different?
Well, I probably would have worked towards being alcohol free a lot sooner and started working on the business a lot sooner. Then I would have, my kids would have had their dad longer, like, I was there, but I wasn't present, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, I would have became alcohol free sooner. This is the best thing I ever did.
Well done, you. Well done, you. Cory, give us a favorite book or film, or both.
Favorite book is probably Atomic Habits. Really diving into trying to build those habits. And I talked about my weight loss slightly. That was built through, the 6 inches between my ears, that mindset and building those habits. And I just need to get back to it. So I need to refresh on that one.
Brilliant. Chad, a favorite piece of equipment, plant, or a vehicle of your favorite car or truck?
I got a Jeep Wrangler. That's a 1990 Jeep Wrangler. That's my little bomber on. That's my fun car.
Okay, so I'm just starting this week with Kundert Construction. I'm with the big man, and he's put me into a 1990 Jeep, and he's going to intimidate the shit out of me for the whole day.
Maybe.
Guys, tell me, if people want to get in touch with you, why do you think they would want to get in touch with you? Obviously, I know, but I'm sure you're open to growing your network and relationships to discuss, how do we work together as a network of a community of construction like-minded people? I think that's pretty much, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you want to talk about that in terms of if people are listening, and they're having challenges or whatever else? Are you open to a conversation or talk a bit about why people would want to contact you from the show?
Yeah. So I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and I'm always happy to have conversations with people in the construction industry. So feel free to look out on LinkedIn, Cory Kundert. We also have our website, kundertconstruction.com. It's a great way to contact us through as well. But yeah, a big part of what we want to do is help elevate the trade. So if we can open up dialogue and have conversations with people to try and make a difference, we're open to that.
Thank you very much. When you say elevate the trades, I meant to ask you, is that a actual brand that you're branding as a name for what you're trying to achieve, or is that just...
No, it's just kind of what we came up with as far as how we want to brand ourselves. We don't have any sort of trademark or anything like that, but it is, we're passionate about it.
Well, listen, I love this. I loved having this call with you guys. You're very, very, you should be very proud of yourselves. It's an excellent initiative that you're doing. I hope some people take it on board and say, well, look, what are we doing? And it doesn't have to be about money. It's about people. It's about people's lives. It's about time. It's about collaboration, and it's about sharing and learning. And you're champions in your own right for doing that. So thanks for being on the show, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Hello, gaffers. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. We love every one of the guests that we have, but in order to bring on more great guests, we'd love to build a channel with you. So hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and let's create a really great community where we bring in better and better guests for you to deliver great content and great pieces of information that you can take back into your business.